There are a lot of different ways that you can get support with your podcast. You can hire or train a team member to do the editing, admin, and promotion, or you can hire out specific areas like production or guest management, or you can work with a third party service provider who can do any or all of the above. Sometimes even that, however, is just too much to have on your plate. And in those cases, then an OBM or an online business manager can be the type of service provider who can really fill those gaps for you and your company. I'm Megan Doherty, and this is the Company Show where we're exploring all of the different ways a podcast can make a bottom line difference to your business without taking up all of your time and brain space. Today, I'm chatting with Ashley Connell, the founder of the Prowess Project, which is an online business manager agency and training academy. She's also the host of the Prowess Hour, a weekly live stream podcast giving OBMs the skills and insights they need to grow their own businesses. Today, we're talking about what an OBM is, how they can help ease the lift of a podcast in your business, and how to know if and when bringing on that kind of support is the right move to grow your company and maybe take over that podcast. Here's the conversation. Ashley, thank you so much for joining me and everyone listening to the Company Show today.
Oh, I am so excited to be here. Thank you.
First and foremost, what is an OBM? There are so many terms and acronyms that will not get thrown around. We know EAs, VAs, OBMs. What is an OBM?
Ooh, love this question. So, an OBM is an online business manager. The way that we define it, and I say the way we do because I went out and talked to hundreds of CEOs on exactly what they needed. And so, based on what they needed, this is what we have designed. An online business manager is that cross between a COO, so they have the strategy of a COO, and the execution of a VA for services businesses, coaches, consultants who are doing around 100 grand to 3 to 5 million. That is their sweet spot. So it's their ops minded thought partner as well as the person who makes their vision happen.
Let's dig into that a little bit more because I've got an idea of what a COO is going to do, the executive on the C suite, and I've got a pretty good idea of what a VA can do. What's the difference a little bit more? So, kind of where would, because I'm a business in the area that you mentioned, where would we plug in a OBM?
Absolutely. So, to your point, every business looks a little bit different. But let's say that you are in that high six figures, low seven figures. Oftentimes, you don't need a full time COO yet. That is the person who is really thinking about your operations strategy and the person who is optimizing your current processes. When you're below that, oftentimes you just need someone to help you turn what you have been already doing because you started this business because you love your craft, not because you love building businesses. And so they help you design your first level of processes. They help you design, hey, what technology exists out there that can automate the heck out of your business? How do we look at all of your financials and say, hey, if your goal is to increase profit by 30%, how do we get there by either stopping things, adding things, or implement technology? So think of it as the person who is going to run your business, build out the processes, implement the technology, and be the glue to make sure everything gets done and all of the people are happy and working together.
I love that. So, sounds fairly valuable and sounds like a good kind of like middle range step for someone who's not quite ready to, like, say, maybe share total leadership control and kind of, would I be correct in saying, goes into chaos and establishes order?
Oh,
Yeah, if chaos is present.
spot on. Yes. Chaos killer. That's one of the many, many things that we call online business managers.
Oh, I love that. And so, especially like EA, like executive assistant roles and virtual assistant roles have kind of expanded over the last year. You can find a VA to do absolutely anything these days. Is the difference kind of in the training or is it in the strategy? How do you differentiate? And also, how do you decide which you need?
One of my coaches actually said this perfectly. You give a VA a task and they execute. You give an online business manager your vision and they strategize. So it really depends on how much of the mental load you want to continue to keep on. If you are happy to give a task list to whomever every single day on exactly what they need to get done, and they are checking things off of a list, you need a virtual assistant and they are amazing and they will get it done. If you want to give someone a problem, hey, we need to increase profit. Hey, we need to be more efficient with our client communications, and just give them the problem, and you want them to solve it, come back with 3 different potential solutions, their suggestion, and then get it done, that's an OBM.
Awesome. And are they typically generalists or can they specialize?
They can specialize. Most of them start as generalists. Actually, let me even just talk about the mission first, and this will make more sense. So, we started Prowess Project because I wanted to help caregivers have a flexible work professional career as well as time for their loved ones. And the butts and seats 9 to 5 just was not working for them. In the US, 43% of women leave the workforce to raise their children. And when they return, after just 3 years, they lose 40% of their compensation power forever. And the kicker, the light bulb moment for me was 97% of them would return to the workforce if they had access to flexible jobs. And I was like, holy smokes, that's what we got to do. So after testing for a couple of years, what we realized were the vast majority of women who were coming to us who needed help finding their next career or getting placed into flexible work, they said that they had a varied background, which we then coined a patchwork quilt like background. So they have some bookkeeping, they have some operations, they have some tech, some marketing, some sales. And so you look at their background, and it's not that linear path that a recruiter loves, that is just an obvious fit for your next accounting role. It's much more of a generalist role. And so I started talking to several CEOs who were in the coaching consultant e-commerce space. And they're like, I got into this because of my passion for podcasting, my passion for accounting, my passion for marketing. And here I am running a business and I have no idea how. So it was this perfect, I say storm, but it really was between all of this untapped talent who know how to run businesses and all of these visionary CEOs who loved their craft but needed someone to help them scale. And that's Prowess.
Awesome. So, most of the people listening to this episode, they run businesses and they also have podcasts. And the podcast, of course, is something that we help our clients. We take over kind of the business area for that. But often, sometimes we're working with a member of the team who, from what you described, could be an OBM. Can you describe, maybe just kind of paint a picture, tell a story of how business owner might say, we need a company podcast, new OBM, this is now your problem. How might they go about making that happen?
Oh, I love this because this is one of the master classes in our training. And I'm sure it's going to overlap with a lot of the questions that you have, in the sense of, why do you want to start this podcast? What is the goal for this? Who is the audience? How is it going to be different? And really establishing where you want to go and how it fits in the key performance indicators for that business versus, which I am very guilty of, a CEO having the bright, shiny object. Hey, my friend has a podcast. It's going well. I'm going to start one. No, 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 no. Let's take a step back and really create that strategy of why. Once you have convinced the OBM that, yes, this makes sense, they absolutely can help run it from the recording of the technology, the building out the snippets, to helping you build the descriptions, helping you get guests, whatever that really looks like. And the way that they're going to be thinking about it is, I'm going to do this manually for the first 3 times and then figure out how to automate the heck out of it so that it's as easy as possible for everyone.
Okay, so building the systems alongside doing the work. And of course, with podcasting, as I'm sure you've noticed, figuring out the many things that cannot be automated.
Right, it can be automated and it can't be. Like, so much of it, you want that personal touch too. So, it's absolutely always that balance.
Yeah, I love that. That's something we've tried for ages, especially around show notes and written content.
Oh, yeah.
Just can't automate it. There is no AI that doesn't make the smallest, most kind of hard to catch mistakes. It costs more in quality assurance than it does to just have a human write the darn things.
I cannot wait to show you our AI agent that that we had an OBM design that that helps us with that.
If you've got an AI tool that can differentiate truth from falsehood, I'm all all about it.
Oh, girl, let's talk. Let's talk.
I've tried all of the podcast show notes writers, and they all make little mistakes, like in job title or in like
Oh,
a spelling
totally.
of a name, and so we just can't have that go
Yeah.
out.
Oh,
Like
no,
it cannot.
absolutely. That's what's so interesting. It's like you gotta have the person oversight. You gotta have the eagle eyes. You gotta have the heart behind it and the brain behind it, or else you're exactly right. You just fall and make these silly mistakes that I mean, a lot of us are working with very high dollar clients that when they see a silly typo, they're like, "Oh, clearly that this person doesn't know or doesn't care about the outcome." And that's what I think is so wonderful about our OBMs. We talk about this a lot. Sure, they have the hands to get stuff done and they have the brains to think it through, but you want to talk about the people who have the heart that really, really treat your business as if it were their own. That's an OBM.
And see, that's quite an exciting thing because when you're hiring, say, for like staff or team members on the assistant level, and often at many levels, it's not reasonable to expect that someone's going to care about your business as their own. But if someone is an OBM, presumably they have multiple clients, and so it's their own business basically that
Ooh,
is at stake, and that makes a really big kind of mental shift in terms of the
absolutely.
detail, like just the ability to maintain attention to detail because it's a slog. It's
Yes. Okay, so this is what I thought too. I was like, "Yeah, it's a slog. I can't handle it. It's overwhelming." And then I created our community of 1,000 OBMs, and they love detail. The amount of times I get emails back that are like, "Ashley, this is a typo. This is a" I was like, "Thank you." Just as we were talking about how important it is not to have typos, and they're sitting there correcting mine. I'm like, "Oh, you guys are the best."
oh yeah, yeah. Someone with that really good eagle eye, and also the willingness to bring it up because sometimes it's really easy to get into the habit of, "Oh, it's not worth it, I'll just let it slide," but it's the not letting it slide that keeps things going over time.
Yes, it keeps the standards high, and that's what we're all about.
Perfect. So you mentioned that, you train OBMs on some type of podcasting. We should talk about that too, especially once you read Podcasting for Business, the book, which is released at the time of this podcast episode.
Ooh, can't wait.
But do you have any examples of, like, some cool stuff that you've seen an OBM do with a podcast for a client business? Like, what kind of, outcomes have they generated, or what kind of, interesting strategies have they employed? Yeah, brag about your team a little.
Oh, whew. I don't think we have enough time for me to one thing that I saw that was really amazing, what they realized is that the OBM's clients, right, the prospects, they sure worked remote, but they always had to be in the car. So they created a funnel, if you will, a nurture funnel that was a private podcast. And it was, I don't know, probably 15 minutes an episode that was extremely engaging, had lots of case studies. They were showing off the host's wide personality. She's funny. And that converted like crazy because they understood exactly who the prospect was, who their listener was. They understood the day to day of this listener and how they're always in the car, always have their AirPods in, what have you. AirBuds in, and is it AirBuds or AirPods? Am I losing my mind? What Mac tool are we on yet?
I'm a PC girl, so I've got no idea.
Oh, PC girl, huh? Wow. You do exist. AirBuds. And yeah, and it worked really well again because the OBM looked at all of the data, realized that their podcasts were listened to all the time, and the emails not as much, and realized, okay, let's give them the information in the medium that they want.
Amazing. And so that it was a private podcast, so an opt-in podcast,
Correct.
basically. Yeah, very
Correct.
cool.
Correct.
I think that is a massively underutilized area of podcasting is the private podcast.
Could
Yeah,
not agree more. It is on our to-do for 2025.
very exciting.
Mhm.
Let's talk kind of a little more into podcasting and more in kind of the nitty-gritty of podcasting because as you know, and as I'm sure remember many of your OBMs know, there's a lot of moving parts that need to happen every week. And there's also usually going to be lots of different people involved. I'm guessing your ABM is probably not usually also the editor nor the social media promoter. Like there's all these different people. So how does the kind of the liaising between different teams, people, how does that work?
So, there is one massive key to this. 2. I'm gonna start with the first. The first is emotional intelligence. Our OBMs, as they're going through our training, we have developed an online platform that gathers hundreds of data points on, of course, their skills and their expertise, but also communication style, work style, emotional intelligence. So think of it as LinkedIn meets Match.com. We use all the data that we're gathering from the OBM, we gather similar data from the CEO, and that's how we make the matches to match our CEO clients with their perfect OBM. So, because we realized that for an online business manager, being able to flex communication styles was so important to manage and liaison with all of those different people, which means all of the different work styles, all of the different communication channels. That is so key. You need to make sure that your OBM has incredible EQ, emotional intelligence. That one. Second, gotta have a project management tool, but you do. And not just the tool, but you gotta have the OBM backing it up with, "Hey, social media person, how do you like your information delivered to you? Is it via Slack? Okay, great. I can create a Slack automation. Is it email? Great. We'll send you email reminders, text, what have you." And slightly customize it to each person because then the information goes out in an easy way every time.
That sounds incredibly valuable, like for the specific podcasting use case, because often, if you, especially if you work like with a third party producer or provider, you have to work within their systems rather than being able to get them into yours. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. So, someone to take that on is very, very cool.
Yes. And again, so for our own podcast, our OBM went from doing it manually, like all the nitty gritty, and it probably took her 4 to 5 hours a week. And she got it down to one.
All right.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Hmm.
Since you brought it up, can we talk about your podcast a little?
Oh, please. Yes.
Tell me about your show. What's it called? What's it for?
Yes, it's called the OBM Opportunity. So, as I mentioned, we're a two-sided marketplace. We obviously want to attract online business managers to go through our training and to be a part of our job pool, and we want to attract the CEOs who want to hire the OBMs. So, our podcast is specifically for the online business managers or people who want to become one. And what we realized is because these women who become our OBMs have such a patchwork quilt like background, what they want is access to brilliant minds within business. That's what they want. And so we find different guests who can either be resources for the OBMs in some sort of business standpoint, whether it's podcast experts, whether it is marketing experts, leadership coaches, what have you, to not only help the OBMs, but also that they can recommend to their clients. So it is, I would say, 75% guests and 25% role playing between me, the visionary CEO, and our COO who started as an OBM. So they can hear how we communicate, how we think about problems, how we are digesting any hiccups in our business, any successes in our business, how we tackle big projects. And I think by showing versus telling, it really opens up their eyes to, oh, okay, this is what it could look like, or this would be a healthy communication style, or hey, this is a mistake Ashley and Leah, our COO, made. I want to be aware of this. So it's that type of thing.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a metric for you. Okay. How much time have you saved delivering that training personally, and how many mistakes have you eliminated?
Oh, I would love to know that.
Compare before and afters.
Yeah, no joke. I'd love to know that.
Very cool. In your experience, have you found, like, back to the business owner end of thing, have you found, like, there a specific trigger or situation that should be the sign, "Okay, I need an OBM."
Yeah. If you are overwhelmed in your day to day and you look up at the time and you're like, I've been spending all this time doing things that I hate running the business and I have no time to grow it, that is your glaring sign. If you are sitting there and you are managing the heck out of 5 contractors, that is your sign. If you are stuck at a certain revenue ceiling and you're like, "Man, I know I need the systems or the tech or that's just not my brain," because that's not my brain. My brain is, "Hey, how do I go meet new people and come up with, like, crazy ideas and marketing?" And that is what I love to do. You asked me to get into Excel, you asked me to set up a new technology, not a chance. Not a chance. Not gonna happen. So, from my own experience, I know how valuable an OEM is.
It's funny you're saying all of these things, all these roles I can take on. I'm just like, if I ever shut the door on One Stone Creative, I think I need to, like, run away to the mountains and become an OBM, because 'cause I'm like, that is so my jam, doing
Oh,
all of that stuff.
okay, tell me, does your brain think like a spreadsheet?
Yeah. I mean, I've got my work spreadsheets, I've got my garden spreadsheet, my spouse and I have date spreadsheets. I've got my
Like,
canning spreadsheet,
oh
there's my
my god,
fridge inventory spreadsheet, like, I could go on.
I love that. So that's what we talk about all the time. So my COO, her brain thinks in spreadsheets, okay?
Yeah.
My brain as like, visionary thinks in spider webs.
Mhm.
It's like the idea happens and it's almost like a starburst, and then it connects to a different idea, and then to a different idea, and so when you ask me to put things together in a logical form, I'm like, "That's already combined into 4 different spider webs. There is no
Mhm.
way I can make that."
Yes, you'll get a kick. There's sometimes if I've had a long week and it's Friday afternoon and I don't have any calls, I treat myself to a couple of hours of project management. So I was like, okay, I've got 3 hours free. I'm gonna go test out this new project management tool and see if I can, like, build some fun templates. And that's, like, how I relax on a Friday afternoon.
Megan, are you joking?
I'm
That
completely
is
serious.
amazing. What I wouldn't give for just a touch of that. Just a touch, just a smidgen. I amazing.
Yeah, but look, without having that little touch yourself, you managed to build a whole business and company full of experts to do it for you. So you're doing fine.
Preach. That is true. That is true.
Amazing. So you teased this a little bit. We chatted a little bit about this in the pre-show. You have developed a new tool that I think sounds very cool, not only as a functional tool, but as a really cool AI use case. Could you tell everyone about it?
Absolutely. So AI is an online business manager's new best friend. We have seen that OBMs with AI can get you about 70% there on any project that you give them. So we have gone deep into training on the latest AI, not only like what it is, because that's fine, but how it's going to help their clients' businesses. That's the kicker. So, one of our values at Prowess Project is show versus tell. I already mentioned that once. And so, what I realized is when a client or a CEO isn't quite sure what an OBM could do for them, hadn't really heard of an OBM before, thinks they may need a VA, but that doesn't quite fit right. They need to be able to see what that could look like. So we designed an AI agent. Think of it as a customized AI widget where a CEO can put in some easy information. What industry are they in? What do they do? What's their next goal? And what do they hate doing? And it will, within, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes, send them a customized report on exactly what an online business manager could do for them to solve those pain points, day in the life of having an online business manager, what that could look like for you, what to go look for in an online business manager, and so, so, so much more that is absolutely personalized to them.
Sounds very cool. And can you share where people can find it yet, or should they consult the show notes for a link?
Consult the show notes.
This is very new, everybody. If you're listening now, you're going to get super early, first premium access to this very exciting new tool.
Premium access, yes. We've already had our beta group run through it. But I mean, because AI is so new, like we're constantly diving into it and making it better and better and better and more accurate. But I think what the real kicker is this type of tool is exactly what we train our OBMs to do for their clients. So if you love the experience that you go through checking out this tool, that is definitely something that our OBMs could help you build for your use case and for your prospects and for what you are looking to do when it comes to the show versus tell your solution.
Very cool. Ashley, absolutely love it. I can't wait to check it out myself. I'm sure everyone listening can't wait to check it out. How should people get in touch with you if they need an OBM or if they want to, like me, run away and become an OBM?
Either way, either way, pop over to prowessproject.com. We are at Prowess Project on all of the socials. And yeah, come drop us a line. Check us out. I would love to just hear what your own, I don't know, bottlenecks are. Actually, and I would love to hear, are you a spreadsheet brain or a spider web brain? Quite frankly, I'd love to hear.
All right. So on social, tag me at OSC Podcasting, tag Ashley at Prowess Project, and let us know if you are a spreadsheet or a spiderweb brain. That is a fantastic distinction. Ashley, thank you so much. Everyone listening, thank you so much. We'll be back next week. I love that there are so many in the middle options to help support your business these days. Fractional everything and different kinds of managers and service providers specializing in specific business areas. It's definitely something to keep in mind as you grow, especially if you're not ready to bring on a full-time hire or add to your executive team. Check out Ashley's awesome new AI assisted tool and let us know what you think. I'm so excited to see how it works and get some examples of what it might be like to have an OBM. Next week, I've got another podcasting expert conversation to share with you, and we're going to be talking about something I'm pretty sure that you've thought of at least once, even if you've never spoken the words aloud. Podcast merchandise. That's right, it's merch. It's going to be a great one. I'm talking with Mars Marcello all about how to create merch, how to make it available, and how it can benefit your podcast. So check out the links in the show notes to subscribe to the company show so that you don't miss it. As always, I've been your host, Megan Doherty, and the show is produced by the whole team at One Stone Creative. In case you haven't gotten it yet, my book, Podcasting for Business, How to Create a Show That Makes a Bottom Line Difference in Your Company, is available now. So if you think that your podcast should be a little bit more profitable, or a lot more profitable, I highly recommend you check it out. There's going to be some great information in there for you. Until next time.